Booyah and most eggs to you too, Andy. Heck. Came in a little early this morning to set up. It is beautiful. I don't know where it's like where you live, but in Great Falls, Montana, it is beautiful. It is 60s, 40s at night. Windows are open. 2 weeks ago, Montana was like, oh my God, it's snowing, it's snowing. Oh my God, we have 2 feet of snow. And we did have 2 feet of snow. 15 degrees out, 12, 10 degrees. What did you expect? It was Halloween in Montana. It was October, late. Now it's mid-November. And that means 60 degrees all week. Wow, I'm serious. 40s, got the windows open at night. Yep. And, it's fall. It's fall in Montana. Now, I was going to mention it, Annie. As you know, this summer was the hunt for vinyl. And, what? No, it's not over, Andy. It's just not. We acquired around 600 albums this summer. It's not over, but we're not shopping either. We're not actively looking. Out of the list when we started, we filled it and then some. I cannot believe, Andy, I never found AC/DC Back in Black. I found the whole Deep Purple catalog, including Shades of Deep Purple, which was their first album. Found all the Savoy Browns. Can I find Back in Black? No, I couldn't. So basically, Andy, like I said, we're Back in Black. Couple Steve Miller, Rock Love, which is a live album, and number 5. Which has Going to Mexico on it. A couple of Alice Cooper albums. I'm looking for Love It to Death still. School's Out. What else? Nothing really. I'm not really shopping. Motown. Always looking, but we really got lucky, Andy. Everybody. We got lucky. We got a couple of state sales, hit a couple of marketplace advertisements before anybody else did, and bingo, kaboom, kabang, bada bing, bada bing. We are in like Flint. And yes, Andy, that was Robin Trower. Before we went on the air. So I tell everybody what we were listening to, but I can't play it for you because we'd get in trouble. I don't know. George Thorogood said so much trouble. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. It is on Monday, November 13th. And like I said, it's a beautiful Monday, November 13th in Great Falls. 60 today, 65 tomorrow. November 13th, it is the start of National Anti-Bullying Week. So take a stand against bullying at home, in school, in your community. Not only this week, right, but always. So me and Andy were talking late last week. We were talking about, Montana is what? We're the 3rd largest state in the Union, in the United States, behind Alaska and Texas. All my exes live in Texas. No, they don't. We're a big state. We are sparsely populated. Sparsely. I like that word. Sparsely populated. There's not many people in Montana. Heck, I've lived in... I'm from Wayne County, Oakland County in Michigan. That's the Detroit suburbs. When I lived in Detroit, like I lived in cities. I've lived in New York, so I've lived in cities that had more population than the whole state of Montana. Isn't one of our slogans, Andy? Isn't one of our slogans, besides the big sky country, but isn't it like, get lost in Montana? Now, I'm not thinking that in a state like Montana, getting lost is a good idea. I mean, we got Yellowstone, we got Glacier, we got the Bob Marshall Wilderness, we got the Mission Mountains Range, and we got the Mission Mountain Wood Band, too. We got the Eastern Plains, where there's literally hundreds of miles, but nothing. Okay? Hundreds of miles, nothing. So, that's not even, we're not even mentioning here that we've got buffalo, bison, buffalo, grizzly bears, black bears, brown bears. We have mountain lions. What else do we got, Annie? We got any wolverines or badgers, or we have enough things that will kill you. Okay, so I don't really think getting lost in a state where, if you're not from here, getting lost isn't a good idea. Even if you're from here sometimes. It's because we're such a sparsely old, undeveloped state. There's lots of old buildings here that were here long ago. We've got our share of mysteries, right? Mysteries, unsolved mysteries. Like, if I get a meme from Facebook and post it on my page, how come I get banned for, it's not what we're talking about. All right, we're talking about like the haunted prison down in Deer Lodge, okay, or we got, UFO sightings right up here in Great Falls. Well, like by Maelstrom, we got a major nuclear base. So, are they aliens? Are they UFOs? Are they Chinese spy baboons? What are they? So, I think that, I think one of the ones that we were looking at, me and Andy, that came jumped right out about unsolved stuff and haunted stuff and what's going on in Montana that's kind of weird. Okay, when we pulled it up on research, there's one that came up, and it certainly wasn't the only one, but it was the first one. Okay. It was the first one that was big, still unsolved. And that's the unsolved mystery of Patricia Meehan in 1989, which, when she disappeared, left local authorities, regional authorities, national authorities. It was on television. It was like everybody was like baffled, to say the least. Okay, everybody's like, what the hell's going on here? Okay, now Patricia Meehan, she was 38 when this happened in 1989. 37, she turned 38 later. Okay, she turned 38 later, and thank you, Amy. She was raised in Pittsburgh, attended college at Oklahoma State, wanted to do child development, child care, and things like that. She moved to Bozeman in 1985. Where she was working on a ranch hand. She was working as a ranch hand and other odd jobs involving animals at a couple veterinary clinics. By all reports, she was pretty cool. standoffish at times, but she's really involved, wanted to help children and animals. And the last person to see Patricia prior to her disappearance in 1989 was her landlord in Bozeman, who noted when authorities eventually talked to him that her demeanor was just a little out of the ordinary, that she seemed a little hyper, but nothing really, Then on April 19th in 1989, that was the day before Patricia's disappearance, she spoke with her dad in Pittsburgh and told him she was under a lot of stress. She had been seeing a psychologist. She was feeling a little stressful. She wanted to come home. Okay? Dad's like, all right, let's figure it out. Okay, the next day on April 20th, this was about 8:15 at night, so it's April at 8 o'clock at night, so it is dark, okay? It's on Montana Highway 200. Now, Highway 200 goes straight through, Montana. If I'm in Great Falls here, I want to go from Highway 200 to Missoula. Okay, if I want to go east from Great Falls, I would end up by Circle and all of that on the eastern part of the state. So at 8:15 on April 20th, Highway 200 near Circle, Montana, which is nowhere near Bozeman, which it's like what, Andy? 400, just under 400 miles away from Bozeman. She's yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere, right? Circle's out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, now we're going to get into the accounts. Now, Peggy Bueller. Bueller. I couldn't resist it, Andy. I'm sorry. Peggy Bueller and Peggy's father were traveling west on Highway 200, okay, when they witnessed a vehicle driving east on Highway 200. That'd be headed towards Circle in South Dakota. North Dakota? South Dakota? Heading on the wrong side of the road, Bueller swerved to avoid it, okay, went over to the shoulder of the road, she avoided a head-on collision, but the car traveling behind Bueller crashed into Patricia's car, kind of glanced off, wasn't a head-on collision. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. That car that hit Patricia's car was driven by off-duty police dispatcher Carol Heitz. Now, Heitz emerged from her vehicle unharmed, just a glancing blow, and she witnessed a blonde woman emerge from the other car, walk up to her, and quote unquote stare as if she was looking right through me. Okay, that was according to Heights. The blonde woman was not speaking to her at all. Okay, Bueller remained pulled over, and her account is that she watched this blonde woman, Patricia, climb over a fence by the Highway 200 and just stand there motionless, like observing this whole scene, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, it's not cool, but yeah. Bueller watched as the blonde woman stood there for what she said was several moments, which several moments is how long? I don't know how several moments is. Several minutes. Is a moment longer than a minute? Okay. She stood on the opposite foot on the fence before she just turned away and just kind of walked away, vanishing into the night. Seriously. You've seen it, Andy. You've seen all this. Bueller drove in the circle to use a phone. This is 1989. We weren't all carrying cell phones yet. Were we? No, we weren't. Okay. Bueller's father stayed with Hines at the scene and waited for the police to arrive. When the police arrived, they did a DMV check on the car that was driving on the wrong side of the road. And it showed that Patricia Meehan was the owner of the car. Okay, matched the description that everybody says, so they're pretty sure it was her. She's missing the drive. They're like, what the hell? Where's she at? You know, she walked off into the field. So they searched immediately following the crash. When the police got there, they discovered a trail of tennis shoe tracks beginning in a desolate field. It was how far away? About 100 yards, maybe 50 yards from the fence. Based on the shoe size and the shoe impression, they believed it to be Patricia Meehan. But the tracks, they tracked it till like 3, 4 in the morning, almost daylight, and then all of a sudden the tracks disappeared. Just like Patricia, right. The Meehan family arrived in Montana the next day, or Andy, as I'm saying it right here, the next day, and immediately started distributing flyers, missing persons reports. They handed out 2,000 flyers, missing person flyers throughout the area. Local mountains, volunteers, law enforcement from all over the state volunteered, searched the surrounding mountains, all the terrain near the crash site by horseback. They had ATVs. The family of Patricia even rented a helicopter. Nothing. Abandoned coal mines in the area were searched. But, you know, everybody was like, the crash site's near Circle, Montana. And like I said, it's nearly 400 miles from Meehan's home going northeast. There's nothing northeast in Montana, really. There's nothing there is, but there, you know, you're not going to Pittsburgh like that. So nobody knew why she was even in the area. Now, the weird thing is, okay, you know, if this was just like, and nobody ever saw her again, that would be the weird part. We'd be like, wow, shit, another missing person. I wonder what happened to her. I wonder, we'd be talking about it out over brunch and stuff. I wonder what happened to Patricia. There have been over 5,000 reported sightings of a woman resembling Patricia since her disappearance. 5 freaking thousand. 5,000. May 4th. Police officer, where? In Laverne, Minnesota. Okay, be conceivable. Claimed to see Patricia at Hardee's, drinking just water in a booth for like 5 hours. In Bozeman, May 19th. 2 waitresses in Bozeman, like I said, restaurant, both reported seeing her on the same shift. It was like, yeah, that was her. She's been seen, on truck stops. 2 weeks later, a woman looking just like Patricia Meehan, she was seen by several truck drivers in the Washington State corridor along I-90 hitchhiking. In fact, by June, just a year after the disappearance of the accident in '89, there had been 25 sightings reported, 3 of which had been confirmed by police that, yep, that was her. Yep, that was her. Yeah, I know. Other reportings were received by law enforcement throughout the Pacific Northwest. Many along truck stops, along I-90 and 200, between Montana and Washington. She had a family in Washington. She had an ex-boyfriend in Washington, different cities. One was in Spokane. One was in the Tri-Cities, I believe. A lot of people think that she's suffering from an amnesia and just, she's got depression and all the sightings have been like, she's talking to herself, she's somewhat confused, she's sitting for long periods of time in fast food restaurants or coffee or shops, drinking coffee or drinking. Right, there's been some pretty reputable sightings of this woman. So, they're like the family used to say, and the other people. Well, she's got amnesia. She had a head injury and depression, so she doesn't know. But if all the sightings, like I said, she's somewhat confused, but, after 30 years, someone would have to say, hey, you're that girl. Right, there was the arrest in Coeur d'Alene for shoplifting, a woman spit an image. Even, looked like her, talked like her, but wasn't her. I mean, seriously, she's just probably wandering. I mean, okay, we know she didn't disappear in the wilderness and get eaten by the grizzly bears and the black bears and the mountain lions that I was talking about earlier. And we also know that she's been sighted. Okay, we know it's been 30 years. Okay, so she was 37. She'd be 67, 68. She'd be my age by now. Okay? She'd be exactly my age by now. She's in the same area. The sightings have been in the same area. And it's not like they've died down. Like I said, there's been 5,000 sightings of this woman in the Pacific Northwest. 5,000. So it's not like nobody's seen her. But, yeah, right. Nobody's intervened. Nobody said, hey, you're the missing woman. I'm assuming that the family's, it's been 30 years. My parents are dead. I'm sure that she's parents are dead. I don't know. It's one of the, it was like the first one that came up. There's so many we could get into. The murders in Florence, that was an interesting, we might do, but there's the pizza delivery guy right here in Great Falls. There's a couple of them. There's 2 or 3 big mysteries here. But hers came right up on, we pull things up and investigate, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, there she is. She's gone, but she's not. It's like she's a ghost. She's 5,000 sightings. Nobody's reeled her in. And some of these sightings, like I said, have been confirmed by law enforcement. Yep, that was her. Seriously? She's probably wandering the Pacific Northwest in a homeless shelter somewhere. Could have been living right down here in the church, Great Falls. Nobody would have known. Lost. She has depression and amnesia and mental health issues. Yeah. Could have been right down there at the church. Everybody lost among the unknown souls. That's pretty sad. Yeah, it's a real sad, it's like, what the hell happened to her? Patricia Meehan, where are you? What happened to you? So, yeah, Lanny, let's wind up with that. In case you have been living under a rock, Jim Harbaugh, the University of Michigan, have been involved in a sign-stealing scandal, which has come out that not only do all the schools do it, but they share each other, like Michigan State, Purdue, Ohio State, and one other team shared Michigan signs last year. Supposedly it's illegal to go to the game and record the signs with your cell phone, but you can watch tape and see the same thing. So the Big Ten is commissioner of the Big Ten decided Friday. Now Saturday, Michigan played Penn State, biggest game of the year for both programs. Michigan was on the road, Penn State. Jim Harbaugh was on the plane. Touchdown at Penn State, made it to the hotel room on Friday. Late Friday afternoon, the Big Ten commissioner informed Harbaugh that he was suspended for the last 3 games for the alleged sign-stealing scandal, even though there had been no hearings, no due process. There wasn't a hearing where Michigan got to, when they said, why are you suspending the coach? They said, well, he's, the figurehead of the football team, and so that's why we're doing it. To suspend the coach hours before the game, when he was out of the jurisdiction, after the courts had closed, and they were closed on Friday anyway because of Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all you veterans out there. Thank you for your service. But the courts were closed, and the commissioner knew that. I mean, the sports journalist world reacted to this predictably. It's like, not only they did it in such a way that Michigan had no recourse, but for Harbaugh to miss that game, oh yeah, definitely disrupt. I could tell. I watched the game. I could tell they were definitely disrupted, out of sync. Yep, they won 24-15 in Penn State, remain undefeated. And so, it was a chicken shit move for the Big Ten to do that. And the NCAA hasn't said anything. They haven't said, good job, Big Ten commissioner, not good job. All I know is that there was no due process, and so the Big Ten now, commissioner, is going to take on Michigan, who's one of the top 5 law schools in the world. Not the country, in the world. You got that, in the world. Is that right, Andy? World? Top 8 in the world. I'll take top 8 in the world. Does that mean we're 8? That doesn't mean we're 8. 7. But anyway, what's going to come of this? I don't know. There, as of the time we went to press this morning, when I got up here, it was like there's a hearing set for next Friday. Michigan's looking for a preliminary injunction to let Harbaugh coach until there's a hearing. They'll schedule a hearing after the Ohio State game. I just think that it's really sad that the Big Ten has decided to interject themselves into a situation where everybody's doing it. Don't make it right, but everybody's doing it. They were ganging up on Michigan. So, Michigan versus everyone. That's the mantra right now. So, go blue. All right, Andy, we have mysteries. What happened to Patricia? What's happening with Harbaugh? Andy's giving me the high sign, so we are out of here for this morning. It is going to be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful week. So enjoy it. Get all the dog poop picked up. Get all your yards. It's perfect. That's why we have this in November, is to get all this done. All right. Remember to spay and neuter, adopt, don't shop, foster, rescue, adopt the shelter pet today. You know the drill, everybody. Until next week, have a great week. We will see you next Monday.